The Denver Nuggets are in a little bit of a tailspin. You can panic. You can keep calm. You can have perspective. You can take a deep breath. You can freak out. We're going to explore all the options on Locked On Nuggets.
You are Locked On Nuggets, your daily Denver Nuggets podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Nuggets, your daily Denver Nuggets podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for joining us and making us part of your day, being an everydayer and making us your first listen. We appreciate each and every one of you that chooses to spend time with us. Like, folks take time out of their day to listen to us in their car, on their walk to work, when they're walking the dog, when they're making dinner. Like, you guys choose to let us into your lives, and we appreciate that more than you will ever know. Today's show is brought to you by GameTime. Download the GameTime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. My name's Matt Moore. I am the senior NBA writer for the Action Network. I write the Denver Dig, where I'm going to be writing some thoughts about where the Nuggets are at off of these conversations I have with my good friend Ryan Blackburn, and conversations with Swipa, and conversations with other folks in Nuggets land about where they're at. You can check that out at thedenverdig.com. His name is Ryan Blackburn. He is the senior Nuggets writer at Mile High Sports. He is the host of the Pick, Axe, and Roll podcast, which you can also find on YouTube. Make sure to check that out as well and become a subscriber. Subscribe to Ryan, support all his work because he works so hard for you, and he cares. He cares a lot about this job. He cares very much about this job in the right ways. I care a lot about this job in the wrong ways. Ryan cares a lot about this job in the right ways. On today's show, we were going to talk about how to fix the defense. We're going to talk about I want to get into a conversation a little bit on trying to still explain some of the realities of the trade dynamics. Not to say that they can't make a trade, but just kind of looking at it from if you're having conversations with your friends, you will be the smartest person in there about who the Nuggets actually can trade or what they will be willing to trade, et cetera, to get the kind of guys that they need to play some freaking defense. We'll do all that on today's show, but we'll start right here. And that's with Defcon Denver, urgency versus perspective. These two things go hand in hand. If you're unfamiliar, you need to go watch the 1980s classic film War Games. If you want a more modern one, there's actually a recent flick on Netflix about an imminent thermonuclear war scenario that was actually really good. But it also explained the DEFCON system. Armed forces use DEFCON, defense condition 1 through 5. 5 is actually the best. It's, hey, everything's fine. It's cool. 4 is that tensions are rising. 3 is there are legitimate threats around. 2 is there is imminent nuclear war. And 1 is you should probably call your loved ones immediately. So based off of that scale, Ryan, and I do love 1 through 5 scales, everybody knows.
Yeah.
I want to know, where are you at on the DEFCON meter for Denver and this season, with Jamal Murray now banged up. He is questionable for tomorrow's game versus the Indiana Pacers. Aaron Gordon is still out several weeks. Christian Brown is out several weeks, and the defense is a disaster. What is your DEFCON level with this team?
My DEFCON level right now is a 3.5. I've been thinking about this a lot.
Okay.
I've been thinking about what that represents, and the way that you sort of frame it is that there are worries, and they are tangible worries. But it's kind of halfway in between tangible worries and untangible worries. Like, these are concerns. These are things that Denver could have happened to them, but right now it's mostly just about get through it. You're going to be fine. When they went through the first 12 or so games, I was DEFCON 5. Like, everything was great. That's exactly how you're supposed to do it. And we've talked about this. Like, they did everything that I asked for. And then as soon as I said that, the injuries started to pile up.
Yeah.
You had Christian Brown and Cam Johnson. Christian's obviously way more serious than Cam Johnson's. You had Aaron Gordon get hurt versus the Houston Rockets. And now you have Jamal Murray go down, although his looks like a minor concern. He was questionable on the injury report today. Just a really weird thing throughout that game that happened. Probably just something that he needs to rest, which is great because a questionable designation definitely means he's going to rest, Matt. So I'm getting more concerned with the injuries, with the lack of defensive ability, and also just like, can Denver, like they can piece things together with their bench, but there are, I think, a few more holes with this bench than I previously thought there were.
Okay. I am at a 4.5. And I think it's totally fine if you as a Nuggets fan want to stress out. Like, I don't like that's the right of a fan. Like, you live and die with these games. It's one of the things, honestly, that like is always in the back of my mind because I see the disconnect between players who are trying to emotionally survive the ups and downs of an 82 game season and not one, but like over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. They always talk about like not getting too high, not getting too low because they'll go crazy.
Right.
Like if you lived and died with every game, you're just going nuts if you're a professional athlete with how hard it is on top of the physical stuff and everything else. So I get it. On the other hand, I don't think you have a choice as a fan. You want them to win. You care about them. You care about every game. You know, I can talk about how, like, yeah, you want them to win the games versus the bad teams and the teams versus that are as good as them and the teams that are in the elite class. So you just want them to win all the time. Yes, of course you do. You're a fan. So it's like completely understandable. And like they do look terrible. And you're always worried that this good thing that you've got, this great thing that you've got, this thing where you're like, we could win another championship could be ripped away from you because it so often is. Like, I know that experience from other sports currently. So, like, I totally get it, but like, I can only give you my honest assessment. And what I can tell you is that when April rolls around, this is going to be a playoff team. There is no indication for me that this is like they are broken and never going to get it back together. Like, they will get healthier. They will have other injuries, but they'll get healthier. They will have other challenges. They're in the adversity right now. And when healthy, this team was a monster. Now, the idea is like, well, these are problems that will show up again. And they absolutely will in the regular season. And the difference is that their offense is going to be good enough most nights. Again, I tell you, like, it's not like they were blown out by Dallas. They had every chance to win that game. They make some buckets. They could have won that game anyway, despite playing an awful, horrific defense.
Sure.
And that for me, I have to think of it in a probabilistic way, which is like most nights. Is the Nuggets shot, average shot, is it going to be better than most teams? Yeah. Like, they're just going to win most games. They're going to win enough to make the playoffs. They're going to win enough to get the 5 seed. They're going to win enough to probably get the 4 seed. They're probably going to get a top 3 seed. If the guys come back on any sort of reasonable timeline with the way the schedule shapes out in the second half of the season, and like, if you're a longtime listener, you know this, how I always talk about how teams are always 3 different teams throughout the course of the season, right? They were a dominant, unstoppable juggernaut that looked like they were ready to go toe-to-toe with the Thunder the first 2.5 to 3 weeks of the season. Since then, they are an injured, apathetic, uninspiring, limited, flawed mess.
Yeah. And so it doesn't feel good, obviously. And as a fan, it is clearly in your rights to want to see the team rise to the challenge, want to see them even like surmount those obstacles and ultimately come out of it on the other side as a better group. And like, we have seen progress from different guys. Peyton Watson looks like a better player than he was last year. Spencer Jones is a player that they can play and is somebody that I think they will be able to count on. Now, will he be in the playoff rotation? Will he even have playoff eligibility? These are questions that I think will still need to be answered in February and in March. But I do think that a couple things here. The first one, there was a conversation that Cam Johnson and Aaron Gordon had on the Old Man and the Three. And a clip that stood out to me from that was that Aaron Gordon was really just trying to implore Cam Johnson to be himself.
Yeah.
And that they are talented enough, and he knows, and Aaron Gordon said this on the show, that they are good enough, and he believes that they will be the last team to win in the NBA this year. They have the confidence, man.
Yeah.
I think they know where they are. And that's the most important thing. It's not about whether you can survive in November and December. It would be nice if you can from a seeding perspective, but like if you have to face the OKC Thunder in the second round versus the third round, so be it.
Their issues right now are also things. I'll just tell you, we'll talk about we'll talk about it coming up in a minute. I will tell you the difference why it is that I think that these issues are overblown compared to how good they were in the start of the season, which was way more important than it was. I'll talk about that coming up on Locked On Nuggets. The World Cup's coming back to North America for the first time since 1994. And with 48 teams for the first time ever, it's going to be massive. But let's be honest, getting tickets is usually the hardest part. That's why the GameTime app is clutch. Finally giving fans a real advantage when it comes to snagging seats. With GameTime, you can track price drops in real time, get alerts when great seats open, and buy tickets the moment they hit the app. It puts the power back in your hands and makes going to the World Cup realistic instead of impossible. You pull up the app and the layout makes it simple. You just scroll through the matchups and compare seat views. You pick a game, you tap a section, and you have your tickets locked in within minutes. No confusion and no hunting for that fine print. The seat view feature is a game changer. You literally see what the pitch looks like from your exact seat before you buy. I know what a pitch is. That's the thing that they play the footballs on. Alerts for teams and matches make it easy to grab tickets the moment they drop instead of missing out. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets for the World Cup and every match, concert, or event with GameTime. Download the GameTime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, download the app, make an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. GameTime. We'll be right back on Locked On Nuggets. Back here on Locked On Nuggets. Thanks for joining us and making us part of your day. I need better energy from the chat. Yeah. I need it. I need better. You guys have gone too far. Mad Dog's in here. We can't beat the Kings. Don't see us beating OKC. Well, you beat the Rockets and the Wolves.
I mean, this is the ridiculous thing, man. Like, I remember there was a stretch during the 2023 season, and you would actually talk about this. Like, I was never satisfied in that year.
Oh,
but that's actually not true. There was a threshold once they won that Memphis Grizzlies game in like early March of that year. That was when they fully separated for the 1 seed. That was like, it was a great points. They 8 games up in the 1 seed, and they were clearly the best team in the Western Conference at that point. There were still like questions to answer, but like they went on a 4-game losing streak almost immediately after that. And I vividly remember being like, guys, this sucks. Check back in May. It's going to be fine. None of these teams matter. One of those teams was the Brooklyn Nets, who came in and dominated Denver on their home floor because Denver couldn't get stops. One of those teams was the Chicago Bulls, who just like ran roughshod on Denver. It's the teams that they don't focus on that are the ones that are giving them trouble. If you give them a team that they are willing to focus on, they will be better. I promise.
Yeah. So one of the things I want to talk about is I've watched the clips of the Spurs. I did breakdowns of the Spurs and this game last night. I don't see these issues for them defensively as an effort thing, and that's more concerning. For those of you that want to panic, that's more concerning. Like they genuinely have problems, but their biggest thing when I'm watching their open, because the threes are what I care about, right? Like Ryan Nembhard makes a pull up jumper in from the mid range versus drop coverage. You have chosen to surrender that. Your odds on that are basically 45 make, 55 no if he has a great night. If he has a really great night, it's like 55-45.
And he made all of them.
That's what you're expecting, right?
Yeah.
Over the course of a season, that's what you're going to get to. Yeah. Right? He can hit him in the game. But when they have these miscommunications where it's Tim Hardaway Jr. and Cam both going to the same side, or Cam and Bruce go on the same side. And like, from the way I've looked at it, from every indication I get, like, I can't find a way to fault Cam on these, because Cam is like turning around and being like, you're not supposed to. And the other guy's like, yeah, I'm sorry. My bad.
Yeah.
These are things that they will fix. They don't have time to fix them because they don't get to practice, but they will do walkthroughs and they will get better at it as the season goes along. Like, they will improve. Spencer Jones, like, you all love his defense. I love his defense. Everyone loves Spencer Jones's defense. Spencer, at times has bad closeouts because he's still learning the correct spacing for how their zone operates. So his closeouts are a little bit off and he's driving a guy not to the wrong spot, but he's a little bit late, which breaks contain. And now you've got extra help and now you're in rotation. Like there are these explainable things with the defense that go beyond just like, they don't try, they don't care, they don't guard any. Like that's actually like, when I look at it, I can't identify a lot of the stuff that David Adelman's harping on where it's like, we got to be more physical. And I'm just like, I don't know, man. Like you get hit by Dwight Powell and see how, like you run into Dwight Powell at 90 miles an hour and see if he takes a second off of you to get back.
Really fun. Really awesome.
And so that's not an excuse. You got to get it done. Like they got to play better. I talked about it on last night's show. Like they got to play better, but that's kind of the key is like, they got to play better. This isn't like last year we had the conversation about 1 million times. They're just not good enough. And they went further than we thought they would. We thought they were dead in the Clippers series.
Yeah.
We thought they were dead before the playoffs started. We thought they were dead in the Clippers series after game 3. And they just kept like battling and they got it to this game 7 based off of their talent. They're going to get healthier. And every indication is basically that. And you talked about how like, you've talked a little bit about some of the things that the bench may not have been as good as you thought. And like we were talking before the show and you were like, there might be some guys that maybe I overvalued based off of like what you're capable of doing. Here's mine is that instead of like the bench guys being that good, like I think that I underestimated some of the learning curve that it was going to take for a lot of the different guys and about where they were going to be at with some of this process, but also like they'll get, they will, I have confidence. There's still nothing about this team where I look at this and go like, they lost to these teams, but they didn't lose to these teams because they're not as good as them.
Sure.
And they haven't lost to these other teams that are really good because they're really good too.
The other thing is that they haven't played that many like matchup tough assignments. Like we're really having to lock in for this one because you're facing OKC. Like they'll face Houston later this month. They'll go on the road and they'll face Atlanta, which is a team that they're going to have to really focus up against. I mean, all of these teams with them as compromised from an injury perspective as they are, they will need to be focused. They will need to be consistent in terms of the kind of effort and execution that they're putting out there. But hey, at least they're going on the road, Matt. At least they're going on the road so that they can see what happens there.
Everyone's kind of made that same joke. I am of the opposite mindset because I'm just like, you got to fix this.
You got to do it on the road. You have to do it at home.
You got to win your home games.
Yeah.
Let's wait. Like every road game, especially here's like one of the things. All of these games don't matter to me. These are Eastern Conference road games. On my scale of how much these games matter, these are all zeros.
Yeah.
Don't care. They don't give you tiebreaker advantage. They don't really show you about any sort of playoff matchups. They don't hone you for anything. Like they're playing the Indiana Pacers tomorrow night, and the Pacers are playing better and might beat them because their defense is terrible right now. Terrible.
They got to face another Nemhard. It's going to suck.
Right. Yeah, actually on Locked On NBA today, I actually said that we should replace got that dog in him with got that Nemhard in him.
Yeah.
Because like the Nemhard family, just all of them, dogs.
Just built with Rottweiler energy. That's how it goes.
So a 4-game losing streak is fine? Yes. It's fine. Because
I mean,
then they're going to lose games. They're going to win a lot more than that. They're going to lose. If I'm wrong, if they fall all the way under 500, then I'm going to be like, hey, I was wrong. Should have panicked, I guess. I don't know. Here's a question for you. What does panicking look like or do, Ryan?
I don't know. Like you've seen what's going on with the Clippers lately. That's what panic looks like. That's what full blown anarchy looks like, except for Kawhi, because Kawhi isn't like that. But I do think that for Denver, it would be changing the starting lineup when everybody is healthy. It would be like, hey, we really need to, like, whether it's Cam Johnson is needing to come off the bench or something like that, and they keep Peyton Watson out there, like that would be a panic move to me. Christian Brown, if he has to come off the bench after signing that contract because he's struggling, it would be a panic move to me.
Yeah,
I think you just have to survive when all of these guys are unhealthy. And then, like, Because what if you go 500 without 3 of your 5 starters? Like, I don't really care. Like, it doesn't teach me anything.
So everybody wants them to stop losing and play better, and the answer, as always, is get someone else. Is make a trade. Everybody loves trades. We're going to talk about how they could do that, who that would be, why that's kind of difficult. And I've got a bigger question, which is, does that actually do anything that you're actually looking for? We'll talk about that coming up on Locked On Nuggets. What if sports were traded like markets? Now you can put your sports IQ to work in real time with Robinhood prediction markets. It's not you against the house, it's you participating in a live market. You can buy or sell your positions live all game long. Use your sports knowledge in the moments that matter. Robinhood prediction markets changes the game. It's people moving the action, so when momentum shifts, you can move with it. You can know the game, but you've never had a dynamic way to apply that knowledge. Now you can actually take part live in a market powered by people. You're no longer just a spectator. Play by play, you decide. Trade every play with Robinhood. Now available across the U.S. Download the Robinhood app now to begin. We're also brought to you today by Doer. Oh, these jeans. These jeans, guys. Okay, so we were told that Doer was coming on as a sponsor of the show, and I decided to go out and get a pair and to see what exactly it is that I'm getting here, that I'm promoting on the show. These jeans are awesome. They're so comfortable. The fit is absolutely terrific on them, and they look awesome. They've got all these type of things. Their performance denim slim straight, they are so comfortable and they look absolutely awesome. They're great with boots. They're great with Jordans. They're great with dress shoes. It works all over the place. Like, I've worn them to do so many different things and in so many settings. I've worn them out to dinner. I've worn them running errands. I've worn them to the arena. They have 5 times the stretch of traditional denim. They're antibacterial, meaning your jeans stay fresh longer so you can wear more and wash less. I have kids, which means I'm always running around, which means I'm often grabbing that pair of jeans that I had on earlier. And I tell you, like, they stay fresh, man. They look stretchy they feel stretchy without looking stretchy. And it's been absolutely awesome. They combine jeanswear style with the kind of comfort and performance you get from athletic gear. It's the best of both worlds. Doer makes the world's most comfortable pants without having to sacrifice style. And you can check out Doer in store right here in Denver, down at 2621 Larimer Street. Pick up a pair for yourself or as an amazing holiday gift. Mention our promo code Locked On Denver in store to get 15% off your first order. Or you can check them out online at ShopDoer, DUER, shopdoer.com/LockedOnDenver for 15% off. That's shopdoer.com/LockedOnDenver. We'll be right back on Locked On Nuggets. Back here on Locked On Nuggets. Thanks for joining us and making this part of your day. Appreciate you guys being with us here on a Wednesday. We'll be with you post game. I think actually Swipe is going to help us out with post game for the Pacers game. So make sure to listen to those shows as well. Okay. So Ryan, we had this kind of conversation, and I'm of two minds about it. Having a guard who can disrupt, if they traded for a guy, and I keep using Keon Ellis, and like I'm waiting for Kings fans to find this and be like, why do you think we're trading Keon Ellis? And me being like, I don't have a reason why you would trade the Nuggets Keon Ellis. I have no idea. Like, why would you do that? You should not do that. You should trade everybody else and keep Keon. You should keep Keon Ellis and Keegan Murray and trade everyone else, and Nick Clifford and trade everyone else. But let's say that type of player. So Ryan, it helps because it's like, all right, you would have a screen defender, a guy that can get over screens better and keep up with faster guards who they just do not have a personnel for. I've been calling this out all season. It would give you another ball handler, theoretically, a guy that can handle a little bit to get the ball up the floor.
Yeah.
A little bit of shooting would be ideal, right? You want somebody it's not going to work unless a guy can shoot 35% from three. Just not. Like, he's going to have to be able to shoot.
Yeah, probably not.
Okay. That's a pretty good player, but let's say that you can find it. I think that makes a meaningful difference with disruption of plays. It would help with the turnover thing where they don't create turnovers. My only thing is when I go back and I watch, that's not going to help situations like Jokers in drop and Ryan Nembhard still gets to the rim. That's not going to change situations where THJ and Cam Spencer are navigating a matchup zone, and both of them go to the same player. Like,
Sure.
You're not going to, it is, and I'm not saying anybody thinks it's going to be a fix-all, but I'm just kind of saying it will help, but I don't know if it is, one, doable, but two, I don't know that it's going to have the kind of impact people want it to have, because they're still likely to make miscommunications and have reads and still have other challenges. Like, any player you add will, by necessity, because of what you're trading with, and your cap space and the kind of contract you'd be looking at, is going to have things that take away. So there's also a balance here.
So just kind of asking a question with a question here. Like, why is Denver's defense so complicated? Like, why are guys having so many miscommunications and breakdowns and things of that nature where, you are leaving guys wide open. There's 5 guys standing in the paint and there's one perimeter shooter that is catching the ball, gets to check the wind before they actually have to shoot the 3 and cans it. Like, what is going on here with the scheme? Is this something that is correctable with the personnel that they have, and just having everybody kind of get into lockstep with each other? Or is this something where you're right, that Denver needs another warm body, somebody that's athletic, that's quick, that's versatile, that can do some different things, that it has that defensive mindset, doesn't need to come in and show what they can do offensively? I think that Denver could always use guys like that, especially like look at what Spencer Jones has done. He just had 28, and like he didn't come in with the mindset of scoring 28 points. It just happened because the Nuggets were able to use him like in a reasonable way. So I think that there is utility in going out and getting one of those guys. There were some comments that we saw come across that sort of advertised like a couple of different types of players like that. Keon Ellis is unrealistic, says Not Moon. Jose Alvarado, Craig Porter Jr., Brandon Williams, Scottie Pippen Jr. is the one that I really like, that I think would make a lot of sense from a gettable standpoint for Memphis. You don't think that?
I don't think he's gettable.
Even with the Jerome coming back and
no, he's not. I know, because the other point guard might be gone. The other thing here is that that's like a value deal. Scottie was really good in the playoffs versus Shea. Like, he was actually really good versus Shea. If you go back and watch, like, it was crazy how good. I thought he was going to get killed. Scottie's so small, man. Like, you need somebody who's going to be able to play more physical. Brandon Williams isn't physical enough. Like, Jose is great. 100% great. Sign me up all day. All day for GTA. No question. If the Pels are in fire sale mode, 100% go get GTA.
Still small.
But not like he's tough.
Yeah, I mean, that's not the question though. Like, the question is whether he can hold up in a playoff environment if guys are like just bodying him the entire time, and like
I don't worry about that.
Or if they're daring him to shoot threes.
I think his handle is so good he would actually be able to separate and get downhill. I think he would break the press really easy.
That's a good one.
Yeah, I think he'd be really good. So I have another thing here, which is just like, what can Denver trade? And we're going to play a little game here in order to find this out, because I actually went ahead and made this. Okay. So there you go. Oh, I like that. That's good. Okay. So who could Denver actually trade? Okay. And we're going to go ahead and make some adjustments here. So I don't think they're going to trade Nikola Jokic. That probably doesn't help them.
Okay.
Are we all good with not, like, has Jamal Murray finally landed a reprieve?
I mean, to me, he has. There's no question about that. Also, like, if you're trading Jamal, there's no way you're getting an upgrade. Like, it's not how it works.
Christian is not trade eligible because of the extension.
Yep.
Aaron's not trade eligible until January of 2026. I don't think anybody wants to trade the heart and soul Mr. Nugget, right?
Not even me.
Okay. This one's interesting.
Yeah.
Cam Johnson.
Surprisingly interesting.
I don't think they should trade him. I love Cam and think he's going to be eventually huge, going to have really huge games. But if you were looking for a substantive move, breaking, if you took MPJ and you broke it into Cam Johnson and then Jonas Valanciunas, basically, if you take Cam Johnson and then break that down further into multiple parts, is that better?
It's a good thought. That's a really interesting thought, actually, because there is still a bunch of money tied up into Denver's 5 starters, and you do not have a lot of flexibility. It would help them bring back Peyton Watson. That's for sure. Like, that's a long-term concern that they have, that like if you keep Cam Johnson, you're probably not keeping Peyton Watson as a result. So I don't know, Matt. That's an interesting thought. But like Noam Chomsky says, like, Cam was brought in to be the perfect fit. He was brought in to be the Michael Porter replacement. And like, of all the times that we've talked about, like, he has taken steps forward despite the fact that this last game was bad. I just think, Matt, that like, how many times have we been complaining about the defense, and how many times have you said, well, Cam Johnson was actually pretty good?
Yeah, I don't think it was good last game, but in general. So nobody wants Trey Bruce, and he's on minimum, right?
I mean, the fan base is not super happy with him.
Really?
I mean, have you not been hearing the whispers?
No.
There's been a lot of folks that are not happy with the backup point guard position.
Oh, well, I will just say this, that last game was really terrible. Bruce was really sick.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. And he just had 10 assists the game before and was really good in the fourth quarter.
But also, you can't trade his contract on a minimum and get anybody of real value. You can throw him in, but do you want to throw in Bruce Brown? Probably not. No. Same deal with THJ. Minimum contract. It's not going to work, right?
No, correct. Yeah.
Okay. Peyton Watson. This is
you got to circle that one.
Yeah, that one's probably the most interesting one. Is like, do you trade Peyton for, if Peyton is 2-3 best, like I still think he's the best guy to navigate screens on the team. If they trade that in for a 1-2, right? You swap out Peyton because you have other wings now with Spencer, and you throw in and you convert Peyton. Now the difference here is like Peyton could absolutely pop off and you look like an idiot.
Probably will. They've done it before.
Right. Like Mad Dog says, keep P-Watt, our defense will get worse. Well, the whole idea here is that you get an equal defender who is better suited to your problem. But to your point, maybe wings go off more then, because P-Watt, I think, is disruptive.
Yeah, and like, it's just good to have an option. I will say that if you have a better guard defender, then you can always slide Christian Braun over to the wings. And whether that's I think he's better suited for guarding wings personally than he is guarding point guards and shooting guards, but who knows?
Jonas's reworked contract probably precludes him from being traded based off of the changes. And if not, it would be a really crappy move to deal him.
It would be a crappy move. I don't think it precludes him. I don't think it precludes him. But
I think the plus minus has been bad. I think he's been fine as far as like what he's done.
Yeah, I mean, he was one of the only things propping up the plus minus in the last game. Like, it would have been way worse without him.
If anyone wanted Zeke Naji, they would have traded for him. I mean, we just gotta be real here. Like,
yeah, I mean, that is a grimace of pain.
Yeah, you can't trade Zeke because nobody will take it. So
it would be the one to trade, but
yeah, it would be like if you had an asset that you could attach with, and we can talk about that in a second. Julian is interesting, but I also don't think that anybody's jumping out of their seats to go get him either. He hasn't been able to. He is not a shooter. He's a bad defender. He's
I mean, he's a shooter that doesn't really shoot that well.
Yeah,
and he's also had problems staying on the floor due to defense and now due to injury. So what's up? Like, provide some value, and then teams will look at it.
Jalen Pickett, expiring contract, but nobody's coming to get.
Yeah, I mean, they're like. Maybe it's a 2-month flyer for the Pelicans or somebody like that.
But it would be for like a conditional second.
I mean, could you throw him into a Jose Alvarado trade with a couple of other assets?
Like what?
The 2032 second round pick and pick swaps.
For Jose Alvarado? Ooh, that's too much. That's too much.
Too much for Jose?
Yeah, that's too much.
Okay, Jalen Pickett and a pick swap.
Oof. Like, I love THJ, but oof. This is the point, right? Deron Holmes, I don't think you can trade because, one, he's got no value, and two, I think you got to see what what he is yet. Like, he could be really good. You got to give him time, right? Hunter Tyson is probably less of this and more of that.
Yeah.
Okay. Spencer, don't want to trade him. Like you might have found a diamond in the rough here. You don't want to trade that.
Absolutely.
Okay. Two ways are hard to trade, by the way. So like Curtis Jones doesn't have much value. Tamar Bates doesn't have much value.
Spencer's also prime for one of those 4-year, partially guaranteed, like longer, small deals that I think the Nuggets could get him on if they possibly could. That would be a 4-year, $7 million contract.
Okay. Now, do you want to deal pick swaps?
I mean, you're already out your 2027 and 2029 and 2032. So if you were going to do it, I would do it in 2028. I would not do it in any year longer than that.
Okay. And, those are low value picks because the Joker's still going to be around. So people are not going to be super excited for that swap.
In 2028, but they could get excited in 2030 or 31.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. But that's why you don't want to do that. That's too dangerous.
Yeah.
Right. And then the 2032 second round pick, the only pick that the second rounder that they can trade.
Woo.
Is there as well.
Shout
so
out
like
Tom.
What we're really looking at is Cam Johnson, Peyton Watson. I'll go ahead and mark out Julian because of the stuff that you said. And pick swaps. Like maybe Jalen.
You're going to trade both of them?
Jalen Pickett is a sweetener, which I do not know if that's going to work at all. Right. So the point here is that like there's just trying to get the guys now you might be able to sneak into it because guys do trade. I think a funny one though is everyone was like, they got Alex Caruso for Josh Giddey. And that was a steal, but also like Josh Giddey's pretty good now. And Josh Giddey, for what he's doing, is a lot more valuable for the Bulls than what Alex Caruso was going to do for him.
100%. It was the right deal for both teams to make. Perfect win-win. See what happens, Matt. Like, I'm curious to see how they handle it. Obviously, this is going to be like, I would still say that this is going to be a low interest deadline. I'm curious to see if they could get somebody on the buyout. Like, they still have an open roster spot. It would be nice to see if they could get somebody in the building, like who could just be helpful.
So I gotta ask you, Ryan. They need a defensive bulldog who shoots well from the corners and can handle the ball.
I said on Pickaxe and Roll this morning that I mean, in retrospect, the way that things have gone, you could really use Russell Westbrook right now. Absolutely, and
that is good for you.
I mean, and I didn't do it like with any gun to my head whatsoever, Matt. It's crazy.
Yeah. Okay. All right, so that's where we'll leave it for now, but I'll kind of look at something for you guys to think about over the next couple of days. We'll get back to you after the Pacers game. We'll see how that one goes. Maybe the losing streak continues. We'll keep you updated here, rain or shine, on Locked On Nuggets. Thanks for joining us.
See you guys. Bye. Have a good day. We'll see you later. Matt's really slow on that button.
Ryan hates silence. I'm just going to get him silent room for Christmas.
It still hasn't stopped the live.
Oh yeah, stop! I didn't stop it. My bad. Bye guys.